The chandelier in the Riverside Country Club dining room catches the afternoon light just right, sending fractured rainbows across mahogany tables that cost more than most people's annual salaries. I watch dust motes drift through the amber glow as I follow the maitre d' to what he calls the Rodriguez family table, his voice carrying that peculiar mix of deference and pity reserved for people about to receive bad news over good wine. My mother, Patricia Rodriguez, adjusts her pearl necklace with the precise motion of someone who has practiced the gesture 1,000 times in front of a mirror. My father, Michael, checks his phone before I even reach the table. Third time in 30 seconds. My younger sister, Sophia, angles her laptop with the careful deliberation of a film student composing the perfect shot, her smile sharp enough to draw blood. Everyone in their assigned seats, everyone playing their part in whatever intervention they've rehearsed. Emma. My mother's voice has that particular warmth she uses when she wants something. You look lovely, darling. I'm wearing the same gray cashmere sweater I wore last Tuesday. She didn't notice it then either. I sink into the leather chair the maitre d' pulls out for me, the one that faces all three of them like I'm about to defend a dissertation to a hostile committee. The leather creaks beneath me. Someone in the kitchen drops a pan. Normal sounds in a very abnormal moment. Patricia slides a slim velvet box across the white tablecloth, her manicured fingers leaving it positioned exactly between the salt and pepper shakers, perfectly aligned with the table's edge. A fresh start, darling, she says, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. We think you'll adore Austin. I open the box slowly. Inside a one-way plane ticket. Departure in 48 hours. Michael places a check beside it with surgical precision, his banker's hands steady as a surgeon's. Your runway capital, Emma. His voice carries the same tone he uses in board meetings. $5,000. Make it count. The check is already signed, already dated. They printed it before I even arrived. I lift the check, feeling the weight of the paper. Expensive stock. The kind Michael uses for important transactions. My eyes catch the memo line, Fresh Start Fund. Not investment, not seed capital. Fresh Start Fund. Sophia shifts her laptop a fraction of an inch to the left, catching my face in better light. I see it now, the Google Doc open on her screen, barely visible from my angle. The header reads, Emma Intervention, Talking Points. They didn't just plan this dinner, they scripted it. We want what's best for you. Patricia continues, her voice taking on that breathy quality she uses during her charity foundation speeches. Sometimes a parent's greatest gift is helping their child find independence. Away from expectations. Away from them, she means. Away from the family. Away from Sophia's shadow. I let the silence stretch. I study their faces, Michael's carefully neutral expression, Patricia's practiced concern, Sophia's barely concealed satisfaction. They're waiting for me to crumble, waiting for tears, waiting for me to beg them to reconsider. Instead, I fold the check with deliberate care, crease it once, and slip it into my purse. Thank you. I say, my voice steady, level. This is exactly what I needed. Michael's shoulders drop. Patricia's smile turns genuine. The Emma problem finally solved. Sophia's disappointment flickers across her face for just a moment. No tears for her video, no drama for her carefully planned documentation. But she recovers quickly, clicking something on her laptop. They don't know about the wire transfer. $8,500,000 confirmed 72 hours ago. Sitting in my account while they hand me $5,000 like it's a fortune. They don't know that Marcus Chen, Agricor's CEO, called me personally 3 days ago. That Professor David Kim forwarded my recovery data to the AgTech Summit 6 months ago. That their daughter, the embarrassment, the one who doesn't quite fit, built something worth buying. Michael raises his wine glass. To fresh starts. I raise my water glass and smile. Let them think it's gratitude. It's not. 6 months earlier, the fluorescent lights in Professor Kim's office hummed with that particular frequency that made my teeth ache. I sat across from him while he systematically demolished my TerraSense proposal with the kind of precision surgeons use to remove tumors. The idea is fine, Emma. He tapped his pen against my printed presentation, 3 months of work reduced to 18 stapled pages. But the data is thin. This is a class project, not a company. Outside his window, Stanford students crossed the quad in the golden California afternoon. Someone's coffee maker beeped down the hall. Normal sounds in a moment that felt like falling. I'd expected pushback, questions about methodology, concerns about scalability, not dismissal. What would make it more than a class project? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Proof. He slid the proposal back across his desk. The pages made a soft sound against the wood. Proof that your algorithm works outside a controlled environment. Right now you have theory. Investors want results. I walked back to my apartment through campus, past students celebrating the end of finals, past the coffee shop where Sophia and I used to study before she transferred to Harvard Law. The proposal felt heavier in my backpack than it should. Theory. Just a class project. I'd heard variations of those words my whole life. From Michael when I chose environmental science over economics. From Patricia when I explained carbon sequestration instead of discussing wedding venues like Sophia. From every family dinner where my research became background noise to my sister's latest achievement. But Professor Kim wasn't family. He didn't have a stake in my failure. Which meant he was right. I spent the next 3 weeks living in the university library, surviving on vending machine coffee, and the kind of determination that comes from being underestimated your entire life. The Callaway Innovation Grant application wanted 12 pages. I gave them 30. They wanted 1 recommendation letter. I secured 4 Professor Kim plus 3 industry contacts I'd found through aggressive LinkedIn cold messaging. They wanted a budget breakdown. I built a full financial projection model with 3-year revenue forecasts and unit economics that would make a McKinsey consultant proud. The acceptance email arrived at 2 in the morning, $75,000. Congratulations, Ms. Rodriguez. I called home from the empty lab, too excited to wait for morning. Patricia answered on the 4th ring, her voice distant, distracted. That's nice, dear. A pause then. Listen, Sophia just made Harvard Law Review. Can you believe it? The youngest editor in 15 years. Hold on. Her voice became muffled like she'd covered the phone with her hand. Michael, it's Emma. She won some grant thing. Mom, I said louder. I won the Callaway grant. It's one of the most competitive. That's wonderful, Rebecca. I need to go. Your father is on the other line with the Harvard Alumni Association. We'll talk later, okay? The click of disconnection echoed in Stanford's empty lab. The fluorescent lights hummed. My laptop screen glowed with the acceptance email, $75,000 of validation that couldn't compete with Sophia's latest trophy. I looked at my TerraSense proposal at 3 weeks of sleepless work, at proof that I could build something real. Then I got to work. The grant money went to an outsourced development team in Bangalore, carefully selected after 2 weeks of video interviews. Every contract specified my sole ownership of intellectual property. Every line of code got documented, time-stamped, backed up in triplicate. I hired James Park, a part-time data analyst who worked evenings and weekends piecing together the sensor network while teaching high school physics during the day. His teenage son helped test the mobile interface for $20 an hour and unlimited Mountain Dew. Professor Kim stopped by the lab one evening in October, found me elbow-deep in sensor calibration protocols. "You're serious about this," he said. It wasn't a question. "You said I needed field data." I didn't look up from my laptop. "I'm getting field data." 3 months later, I had my pilot program the Delgado Family Farm, a small operation outside Fresno. 3rd-generation farmers. Desperate enough to try an unproven system from a Stanford student who promised better irrigation efficiency and lower water costs. The algorithm went live on a Tuesday morning in March. By Thursday afternoon, I knew something was catastrophically wrong. The soil moisture readings fluctuated wildly, spiking and crashing like a heart monitor during cardiac arrest. The irrigation schedule triggered at incorrect intervals, flooding some sections while leaving others bone dry. I watched from my laptop in the Stanford lab as 30% of their test crop drowned in water my system had insisted they needed. Carlos Delgado's voice stayed level when he called controlled, in the way that comes from watching your livelihood die in real time. "We're shutting it down, Emma." "Give me 48 hours, I said, my hands shaking as I pulled up the error logs. "I can fix this." "You've had 3 months. His voice cracked slightly. "My grandfather planted these fields. You're killing 60 years of work. The crop doesn't get 48 hours. I sat in the lab surrounded by failure data, watching my grant money hemorrhage into a flooded field outside Fresno. Every sensor reading, every irrigation trigger, every algorithmic decision that had destroyed someone's harvest. My phone buzzed. Michael's voice on voicemail, carefully neutral. "Emma, it's your father. I heard about your little agricultural experiment through my network. Perhaps it's time to consider something more suitable. Perhaps accounting. Give me a call." He didn't sound surprised. He sounded relieved. Patricia's text arrived next. "Darling, there's no shame in trying. Not everyone is meant for entrepreneurship. We still love you." Then Sophia 3, crying laughing emojis followed by "heard you drowned some vegetables." Stick to your lane. I turned off my phone, pulled up the failure logs, and started reading. Somewhere in 3 months of code and thousands of lines of predictive modeling was the error that had cost Carlos Delgado 30% of his crop and validated every dismissive word my family had ever said about me. The lab became my home for the next 3 weeks. I ordered Thai food I forgot to eat, made coffee I forgot to drink, slept 2 hours in the desk chair, and woke up with sensor specifications imprinted on my cheek. I found the error at 2:30 on a Wednesday morning. A single flawed line in the moisture prediction algorithm. A variable initialization error, so small, so elegant in its destructiveness that I almost admired it. The kind of mistake that could happen to anyone, but was unforgivable when it destroyed someone's livelihood. But as I traced the error's impact through the system, I saw something else. Something the failure had revealed. The recovery data showed patterns I hadn't anticipated. The algorithm in its catastrophic breakdown had generated thousands of data points about system failure modes, about how sensors responded under stress, about the precise thresholds where predictions became unreliable. I didn't just have data about what went wrong. I had data about how systems fail and how they could learn from those failures. I rebuilt the entire system from the ground up, incorporating the failure data into the core algorithm. The new version didn't just predict irrigation needs. It monitored its own predictions for the early warning signs of the errors that had destroyed the Delgado farm. It had learned from its mistakes. It could recognize when it was about to fail and correct itself. The new algorithm emerged 40% more efficient than my original projections. More importantly, it was resilient, adaptive, the kind of system that got stronger with every challenge instead of brittle with age. I sent the updated analysis to Professor Kim at 4 in the morning. His response arrived an hour later, conference room. 9 a.m. Bring everything. When I walked into his office carrying 3 months of recovery data, he looked at my findings for 7 minutes without speaking. Then he picked up his phone. "I'm getting you a presentation slot at the AgTech Summit," he said, already dialing. "Don't make me regret this." Marcus Chen sat in the 3rd row during my presentation at the San Jose Convention Center, his silver pen moving steadily across a leather notebook while I explained how catastrophic failure had produced a stronger system. Traditional irrigation algorithms optimize for efficiency. I told the audience of 400 agricultural technology professionals. TerraSense optimizes for resilience. It doesn't just respond to soil conditions, it monitors its own predictions and recognizes when those predictions might fail. On the screen behind me, I showed the Delgado farm data, the 30% crop loss, the flood patterns, the algorithmic breakdown that should have ended my company before it started. Then I showed the recovery, the rebuilt algorithm, the new system deployed on the same fields producing 40% better results than my original projections. Failure data, I said, is the most valuable data you'll ever collect. Most founders try to hide it. I built my entire system around it. After my presentation, I stood in the convention center hallway answering questions from engineers and agronomists while people streamed past to the next session. A woman from John Deere wanted to discuss sensor integration. A man from an Israeli water management startup wanted to talk about licensing. I didn't notice Marcus Chen until the crowd had thinned. "Ms. Rodriguez," he said, extending his hand. "Marcus Chen, Agricor." That was the most honest pitch I've heard in 20 years. 2 days later, his technical team called. 4 senior engineers on the line interrogating every line of code, every data point, every projection. I'd spent 6 months documenting everything, every decision, every setback, every breakthrough. My meticulous records became my greatest asset. The acquisition offer arrived 24 hours after that call. $8,500,000. Plus a position as Senior Vice President of Sustainable Innovation at Agricor's Chicago headquarters, leading a new division with 12 direct reports and a $50 million budget. I saved the wire transfer confirmation but didn't tell anyone. Not Professor Kim, not James Park, certainly not my family. That secret felt like power, like proof. like everything they'd never believed I could build. Back at the Riverside Country Club, dessert arrives in crystal dishes that catch the light and throw it back like tiny accusations. Creme brulee. My favorite, according to Patricia, though. I've hated the texture since I was 12. She's never noticed that I push it around the plate at family dinners, creating patterns in the burnt sugar crust instead of eating. I lift my spoon. The sugar cracks with a sound that feels too loud in the careful quiet of our table. Michael leans back in his chair, the leather creaking. He's moving into speech mode. I can tell by the way he adjusts his cufflinks first, then his collar, the same ritual he uses before client presentations at Goldman Sachs. "Emma," he says, his voice carrying that boardroom authority, the one that closes deals and ends discussions. "Your mother and I have given this considerable thought. Sometimes tough love is the greatest gift a parent can provide. You need to find your own path without the shadow of family expectations." The irony would be funny if it weren't so perfectly on brand. Family expectations are the only thing they've ever given me. Patricia dabs at her eyes with a napkin that probably costs $40. Her tears are perfectly timed, perfectly placed, not enough to smudge her mascara, just enough to glisten. "We want what's best for you, darling. A fresh start where you can really discover who you're meant to be." Who I'm meant to be. As if I haven't already discovered that in a Stanford lab at 3 a.m, rewriting code until my eyes burned. As if I haven't already become exactly who I'm meant to be, and they just couldn't see it. Sophia's smile stretches wider. She stopped trying to hide her satisfaction. Her laptop sits on the table now, recording openly, getting every angle of my supposed defeat. She'll edit this later, add a soundtrack maybe. Something inspirational about family and second chances. "This is exactly what I needed," I tell them, my voice soft, grateful. "Thank you for seeing what I couldn't see myself." Michael's shoulders relax. Patricia reaches across the table to pat my hand, her diamond rings cold against my skin. Inside my head, I'm doing math. Their $5,000 versus my $8.5 million. Their country club membership dues versus my SVP salary. Their carefully constructed intervention versus the wire transfer confirmation sitting in my email dated 3 days before this dinner even happened. I've already won. They're just too busy performing to notice. The waiter refills water glasses. Someone at the next table laughs. Life continues around us while my family orchestrates my exile, completely unaware that I'm 3 moves ahead in a game they don't even know we're playing. My phone vibrates in my purse. Once, twice, 10 times in rapid succession. I know without looking what's happening. The family WhatsApp group erupting. Sophia's already posted something, probably edited clips from tonight. Strategic cuts that make me look lost and them look generous. A caption about fresh starts and family support. Maybe a prayer hands emoji. The responses are flooding in. I can picture them, Cousin Bradley. I can put in a good word at my Austin firm. Marketing could be perfect for her. Aunt Linda, teaching something simple might be just the thing. Uncle Robert, these young people need guidance. Good for you, Michael. The family narrative cementing in real time. Emma the failure. Emma the lost cause. Emma saved by family generosity. My phone vibrates again. Different pattern. Text message, not WhatsApp. I wait until Patricia excuses herself to greet someone across the room. Until Michael gets pulled into a conversation about interest rates with a passing colleague. Until Sophia is distracted by her own social media engagement metrics. Then I check. Professor Kim Heard Agricor finalized everything. Don't let anyone dim this light. I close my eyes. Open them. The country club chandelier still glitters. The creme brulee still sits half-eaten on expensive china. Another text arrives. Marcus Chen, Chicago's lucky to have you. Drinks when you get here. Then another from a number I don't recognize, but the signature gives it away. Apartment viewing schedule attached. Welcome to the team. Jenna Wu, Agricor Executive Relations. 2 phones. 2 lives. 1 for the performance. 1 for reality. The Rodriguez family is still managing my narrative on WhatsApp. Still posting and commenting and reshaping my story into something they can control. Still painting me as the family project, the one who needed saving. Meanwhile, Agricor's legal team is finalizing my employment contract. My apartment in Chicago has a view of Lake Michigan. Professor Kim is recommending me for speaking engagements at 3 major conferences. Marcus is adding me to his personal network of founders who actually built something. Chosen family versus blood family. The contrast has never been clearer. Patricia returns to the table, followed shortly by Michael. Sophia finally puts her laptop away, satisfied with her documentation of my downfall. "Walk me to my car," Michael asks. Not really a question. Outside, the parking lot smells like money-new leather and imported cologne, and the particular scent of privilege that clings to expensive things. Valets move between vehicles that cost more than most people make in a year. Michael's Mercedes sits under a light gleaming black paint, reflecting our shapes back at us in distorted mirror image. He turns to face me, his expression softening into something he probably thinks looks paternal. "This is for your own good, Emma." His voice is quieter now without the audience. "Someday you'll thank me." The night air is cool. I can hear other families leaving the club, laughter, car doors, the ordinary sounds of people who haven't just orchestrated an intervention over creme brulee. "I already do, Dad." I meet his eyes. "You've taught me exactly what I needed to learn." Confusion flickers across his face. He's trying to parse my words, looking for sarcasm or bitterness. He won't find it. I mean every word. He taught me I was on my own. He taught me that some people will never see your value, no matter how much you achieve. He taught me that sometimes the greatest gift is discovering you don't need someone's approval after all. These are lessons worth $8.5 million. Good. He clears his throat, straightens his tie. "Austin will be good for you." Fresh perspectives. I nod. Let him believe it. Back inside, Patricia is on her phone. I can see her through the window, pressed to her ear, expression set in concerned mother mode. She's already calling my college friends, explaining the intervention, controlling the story before I can tell my own version. Sophia is drafting something on her laptop now, probably her LinkedIn post about supporting struggling family members, about the importance of tough love and family values. They're closing ranks, rewriting history, making sure everyone knows their version before mine can surface. I pull out my phone and start documenting. Screenshots of the WhatsApp messages, voice memo noting the time and location of Michael's parking lot speech, photos of the check the ticket, the velvet box, evidence, data, proof. Let them think they've won. Let them control their narrative for now. I'm building mine methodically, recording everything, creating a paper trail they don't even know exists. Sunday night I'll board a plane, just not the one they bought. Monday morning, Forbes will publish an article they haven't seen coming. 48 hours until detonation. Until their carefully constructed story explodes into something they can't control, or edit, or explain away. I return to the table. Patricia is crying again, real tears now, or her best approximation. Sophia is calculating her social media strategy, probably running through filters in her head. And I'm smiling. Really smiling. Because they just handed me the greatest gift, the freedom of having nothing left to prove. End of part 1. Sunday morning light filters through my apartment windows, catching the dust from 2 open suitcases on my bed. I'm folding a thrift store sweater, deliberately cheap, deliberately worn when the doorbell rings. Unannounced, exactly like Patricia. I check the peephole. There she is, holding a Starbucks cup like a prop, her Sunday brunch outfit perfectly pressed despite the early hour. Cream linen pants that probably cost more than my monthly rent. A silk blouse the color of champagne. Pearls, always pearls. "Darling," she says the moment I open the door, sweeping past me before I can respond. "I thought you might need help packing for Austin. Moving is so overwhelming." Overwhelming. As if I haven't orchestrated 3 international shipping containers and a corporate relocation package in the past week. I gesture toward the suitcases. "Just finishing up." Patricia sets her coffee on my kitchen counter without using a coaster. She picks up my Stanford diploma from the pile next to the suitcase, the duplicate one, not the real diploma that's already hanging in my Chicago penthouse, and runs one manicured finger across the frame. "You won't need your diplomas in Austin, dear." Her voice carries that particular brightness she uses when delivering bad news. Fresh starts mean leaving everything behind. The diploma is a duplicate. The real one was shipped to Chicago on Tuesday along with my actual belongings, but Patricia doesn't know that. "You're right, Mom." I take it from her hands, gently set it back down. Fresh start, new beginning. Her smile blooms genuine. "I'm so glad you understand." She moves to my closet, pulls out my interview blazer, the good one, navy wool, professionally tailored. "And this is far too formal for Austin's casual culture." You'll want to blend in, not stand out. That blazer is already hanging in my Chicago closet. This one came from Goodwill yesterday for $19, selected specifically because it looks similar enough to fool her. I was thinking the same thing. I fold it into the suitcase with deliberate care. Patricia watches me pack thrift store jeans clearance rack blouses, everything carefully chosen to look like my actual wardrobe being dismantled. She nods approvingly at each choice, satisfied that I'm properly destroying my life according to their plan. Your father and I are so proud of how you're handling this. She perches on the edge of my bed, careful not to wrinkle her linen pants. Not every young woman has the maturity to accept guidance with such grace. Grace. That's what she calls surrender. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. Patricia's eyes flick toward it, but I'm faster. I silence it without looking at the preview, but I saw enough Jenna Wu from AgriCorps confirming my furniture delivery to the Chicago address. Just the airline, I tell her. Confirming my flight. Good. She smooths invisible wrinkles from her pants. I'll drive you to the airport tomorrow. Make sure you get off safely. There it is. Not maternal concern. Verification. She wants to watch me board. Watch the plane door close. Confirm the exile is complete. That's really thoughtful, Mom. I keep my voice warm. Grateful. Her coffee sits abandoned on my counter, lipstick stain on the rim. She didn't come here to drink it. Didn't come here for coffee at all. After she leaves, I sit on my bed surrounded by suitcases full of someone else's clothes. The Austin boarding pass sits on my nightstand, purchased with my own credit card 3 days ago, printed at home on regular printer paper. It will never be scanned. My real flight to Chicago departs 3 hours after the Austin flight. Different airline, different terminal, different life. I pull out my phone and open the recording app. Patricia's visit is saved there, time-stamped and backed up to 3 different cloud services. Her voice saying, "You won't need your diplomas." Her insistence on driving me to the airport. Her satisfaction at watching me pack away my supposed life. Evidence, documentation, proof. They taught me this game how to perform one reality while living another. How to let people see exactly what they expect. I just became better at it than they ever were. Monday morning, 8:30 a.m. I'm sitting at gate B-17 in O'Hare International Airport, watching my phone light up like a Christmas tree when Michael's email arrives. The Austin flight has already departed from the other terminal, the one Patricia watched from the window, believing I was on it. I can picture her now, standing at the floor-to-ceiling glass, watching the plane taxi away, relief washing over her face. The Emma problem finally solved. Michael's email subject line, family update. The body is brief, efficient, pure Michael Rodriguez. Emma has relocated to Austin for personal growth and fresh perspective. We're confident this change will provide valuable clarity for her future. We wish her well in this new chapter. Best regards, Michael Rodriguez. The email goes to his entire professional network. 217 contacts built over 30 years. Every investor, every client, every board member he knows. The implicit message reads clear as day. Don't help her. Don't hire her. Don't take her calls. I'm holding my second coffee when Patricia's Instagram post appears. A family photo from Sophia's Harvard graduation last spring. The 3 of them perfectly posed on the law school steps, Michael in his navy suit, Patricia in cream, Sophia in her crimson graduation gown. I'm cropped out so cleanly you'd never know I existed. The professional editing is obvious. There's a strange gap in the composition, too much empty space on the left side where someone used to stand. The caption, our Harvard Law Review star so proud of Sophia's accomplishments. Family first. # proud mom. # Harvard Law. # blessed. 37 likes in 5 minutes. Meredith comments, beautiful family. Aunt Linda, so proud of you all. My boarding group gets called. I silence my phone, gather my carry-on, and join the line. The gate agent scans my ticket. Welcome aboard, Ms. Rodriguez. Enjoy your flight to Chicago. Those words taste like freedom. I'm somewhere over Indiana when my phone starts vibrating with such intensity it nearly walks across my tray table. The airplane Wi-Fi loads with agonizing slowness, but eventually the Forbes homepage appears in crisp black text. Headline, how a 23-year-old turned catastrophic failure into 8.5 M. AgriCorps acquisition. Subheading, Emma Rodriguez's TerraSense algorithm learns from disasters, and her family never saw it coming. My professional headshot fills half the screen the one Professor Kim insisted I take last month. Hair pulled back, simple navy blouse, confident smile. Not cropped out, not erased. Front and center. The article is everything Nina Patel promised. Every detail we discussed during our 3-hour interview last Thursday. When 23-year-old Emma Rodriguez watched her irrigation algorithm destroy 30% of a family farm's test crop, most people would have quit. Instead, she spent 3 weeks in a Stanford lab surviving on vending machine coffee and determination rebuilding her system from the ground up. The result? An adaptive AI platform that doesn't just predict irrigation needs, it monitors its own predictions and recognizes when those predictions might fail. Traditional algorithms optimize for efficiency, Rodriguez explains. TerraSense optimizes for resilience. It learns from its mistakes in real time. Last month, AgriCorp acquired TerraSense for $8.5 million and immediately appointed Rodriguez as Senior Vice President of Sustainable Innovation, making her one of the youngest executives in the agricultural technology sector. The article includes everything: the Callaway grant, the Delgado farm case study, the algorithm rewrite, my new position leading a 12-person team with a $50 million budget. There's a sidebar titled The Resilience Factor: Why Failure Data Matters More Than Success. It features a quote from Marcus Chen. Emma represents the future of AgTech resilient adaptive visionary. She didn't hide from failure. She built her entire platform around it. That's the kind of thinking that changes industries. I refresh my LinkedIn. Professor Kim's post appeared 6 minutes ago. Proud doesn't begin to cover what I feel watching my former student Emma Rodriguez's journey. From a class project to an 8.5M acquisition, she proved that true innovation happens when brilliant minds refuse to accept failure as final. Congratulations, Emma. You've earned every bit of this. 87 shares in 20 minutes. The comments are flooding in. This is what mentorship looks like. Stanford is lucky to have professors like you. The failure to break through story is incredible. Stanford's official Twitter account posted 5 minutes after Kim. Congratulations to environmental science alum Emma Rodriguez, 24, on the successful acquisition of TerraSense by AgriCorp, making a real difference in sustainable agriculture. Hashtag Stanford alumni had AgTech now had innovation. The photo shows me at the Callaway grant ceremony holding the oversized $75,000 check Professor Kim beside me, both of us grinning like we'd just won the lottery. AgriCorp's announcement appeared at exactly 900 a.m., coordinated down to the minute. AgriCorp is thrilled to welcome Emma Rodriguez as Senior Vice President of Sustainable Innovation. Emma brings groundbreaking expertise in adaptive agricultural AI, and we're excited to support her vision for resilient data-driven farming solutions. Welcome to the team, Emma. My bio follows environmental science degree from Stanford Callaway Innovation Grant recipient TerraSense founder. The algorithm's efficiency improvements. My role leading the new Sustainable Development Division. Not a word about Austin. Not a word about fresh starts or family guidance. Just facts. Just achievement. Just me. My phone won't stop. Text after text, notification after notification. James Park, my former data analyst. Emma, just saw Forbes. This is incredible, so proud of you. Sarah Chen, Stanford classmate. You sold your company. Why didn't you tell anyone? Dr. Martinez, Environmental Science Department head. Emma, congratulations. Would you consider coming back for a guest lecture series? Then the family WhatsApp erupts. I disabled notifications yesterday, but I check it now. 43 new messages. Aunt Linda. Emma sold her startup for millions. Why are we just hearing about this? Cousin Bradley. Wait, Emma's a tech executive now at AgriCorp. They're huge. Uncle Robert. Michael, did you know about this? Why didn't you mention it? Cousin Maria. I'm so confused. I thought Emma was moving to Austin for personal growth. Aunt Patricia. Yes, a different Patricia. Just saw the Forbes article. This is incredible. Emma, congratulations. The narrative crumbles in real time. Every careful lie, every dismissive comment, every cropped photo suddenly suspect. I save the Forbes article to my photos. Screenshot Professor Kim's LinkedIn post. Archive AgriCorp's welcome announcement. Evidence, documentation, proof. By the time my plane touches down at O'Hare, I have 62 missed calls, 21 voicemails, and 114 text messages. 3 calls from Michael's office line, 7 from Patricia's cell, 15 from Sophia. I don't listen to any of them. Not yet. My Chicago driver waits at arrivals holding a tablet with my name. He's professional efficient, wearing a crisp Agricor polo shirt. "Welcome to Chicago, Ms. Rodriguez." He takes my carry-on. "Cars this way." Nothing like Patricia's suffocating surveillance. No questions about my plans or my feelings or whether I'm making the right choice. Just welcome to Chicago. The city skyline rises ahead as we drive north on Lakeshore Drive. November gray Lake Michigan stretching endless and cold beside us, the skyscrapers downtown catching the afternoon sun. My new beginning built on their dismissal. We pull up to a glass tower in Streeterville. The doorman opens my car door. "Welcome home, Ms. Rodriguez." Home. The word sounds foreign and perfect at once. My apartment is on the 42nd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows facing the lake. 2 bedrooms, though I only need 1. Kitchen with marble countertops. The moving boxes I shipped last week are stacked neatly in the living room, each one labeled in my handwriting. The real boxes. The real life. I walk to the window. Lake Michigan stretches gray and vast whitecaps forming in the November wind. A few brave sailboats tack across the water. The city hums below, indifferent to my arrival, indifferent to my family drama. Perfect. My phone buzzes. Different pattern. I check it. Professor Kim. Saw Michael's email to his network. I'm forwarding it to Stanford's legal team. That's textbook blacklisting. Don't let him silence you. I hadn't even thought about that. Michael's carefully worded family update is actually a coordinated attempt to damage my professional reputation before I can establish myself. But he's too late. Forbes published first. Agricor announced first. The truth got out before his lies could take root. Another text arrives. Marcus Chen. Ignore the noise. Press wants interviews your call whether to do them. We'll support whatever you decide. See you Thursday for onboarding. Welcome home. Welcome home. I sink onto my new couch delivered and assembled by Agricor's relocation team and finally check the voicemails. Voicemail number 1. Michael, 10:15 a.m. Monday. His voice is controlled. Tight. The tone he uses when a deal falls through at the last second. "Emma, call me immediately. We need to discuss why we learned about your business from Forbes magazine. This is completely unacceptable. Call me back." Voicemail number 4. Patricia, 11:00 a.m. Monday. Fake cheerful. Breathy. Like she's talking to someone at a charity luncheon. "Darling, so exciting about your news. We're so proud. We always knew you had potential. That's why we encouraged you to spread your wings. Call me back. We should celebrate together. The revisionism is breathtaking. Encouraged you to spread your wings. That's what she's calling exile now." Voicemail number 7. Sophia, 12:30 p.m. Monday. Panicked. Young. The Harvard law polish stripped away. "Emma, people are asking me questions, like a lot of questions, about why I posted that story, about why I didn't mention your company. Can you just call me, please? This is really embarrassing. For me. Not I'm proud of you, not congratulations. This is embarrassing. For me." Voicemail number 12. Michael, 1:45 p.m. Monday, desperate now. The controlled facade cracking. "Emma Harrison Blackwood called my office. He wants to invest in your next company. He's talking about a seed round advisory board position. We need to discuss strategy. As a family, there are opportunities here we should explore together. Call me back." And there it is, the pivot. I'm no longer the embarrassment. I'm the opportunity. I archive all the voicemails without responding. Instead, I text Professor Kim, "Thank you for believing in the data when no one else would." His response arrives instantly. "You made me look good, kid. That's all on you." Tuesday afternoon, my first full day in Chicago. I've unpacked 3 boxes, assembled a bookshelf, and hung my real Stanford diploma on the wall when my phone rings. Unknown number. Chicago area code. "Emma Rodriguez," I answer. "Ms. Rodriguez, this is Janet Morrison from Agricor's General Counsel office. Do you have a moment?" My stomach drops. "Of course. We received a letter this morning from Patterson & Hayes LLP. They're representing Michael Patricia and Sophia Rodriguez." She pauses. "Your family, correct?" "Yes. They're demanding 30% of your acquisition payment, claiming fiduciary interest based on family investment during TerraSense's development phase." I close my eyes. Of course they are. What kind of investment are they claiming? According to the letter, a $5,000 seed capital payment, plus use of family resources during your research and development phase housing food support. They're arguing that intellectual property created while you were a dependent should be considered a family asset. The $5,000 check, the Fresh Start Fund. They're claiming it was always an investment. Ms. Rodriguez, are you still there? I'm here. I open my laptop, pull up my banking app, yap. That check, I never cashed it. You didn't? No, I kept it as, I don't know, evidence, I guess. Do you have the check itself, or an image? Both. I photographed it before I put it in my wallet. It's still there. Can you send me that image right now? I text her the photo. The check is wrinkled but clear. Michael's signature. The date June 15th, 2024, 3 days after the Agricor acquisition closed. And the memo line in Michael's precise handwriting, Fresh Start Fund. Not investment, not seed capital, Fresh Start Fund. Janet's voice when she calls back 2 minutes later sounds almost gleeful. Emma, this is perfect. The memo line explicitly states the purpose of the funds. Plus the date proves it came after your acquisition closed. And the fact that you never cashed it means you never accepted it as investment. So what do I do? Honestly, nothing. We'll respond on your behalf, but... She pauses. If you wanted to make a point, you could deposit the check now. Accept it as exactly what they claimed it was, a Fresh Start Fund. Severance pay for leaving the family. I look at the check still in my wallet. $5,000 that was supposed to be the price of my exile. If I deposit it now, does that hurt their case? It destroys their case. By depositing it now after they've claimed it was an investment, you're accepting it as the gift they explicitly stated it was. The memo line is your evidence. Do it, I say. I'll deposit it right now. Ted, Wednesday morning. I'm in my new office at Agricor 43rd floor corner suite windows overlooking Michigan Avenue when I compose the emails. The check deposited overnight. $5,000 sitting in my account now alongside $8.5 million. Email number 1 to Janet Morrison, Agricor General Counsel. For your records, full payment received and accepted. All family financial matters now concluded. Documentation attached. I attach the deposited check image. The timestamp. The memo line crystal clear. Email number 2 to Patterson and Hayes. LLP CC Michael Rodriguez. Patricia Rodriguez. Sophia Rodriguez. Subject your client's final payment. Attached, please find my acknowledgement of your client's payment. Thank you for finalizing this matter. Per the memo line, your client provided this Fresh Start Fund has been accepted as intended. All future correspondence regarding any matter should be directed to Agricor's General Counsel, Janet Morrison, copied here. Best regards, Emma Rodriguez, Senior Vice President, Sustainable Innovation, Agricor Technologies. I attach the same documentation, the deposited check, their own words used against them. My finger hovers over send. I think about being 8 years old handing my first place trophy to Sophia for good luck, about science fair versus piano recital, about every time my achievements became background noise to her success. I think about not ambitious like Sophia, about Harrison Blackwood's laughter, about Michael's relief when my farm test failed. I think about 3 weeks in a Stanford lab surviving on vending machine coffee and Spite rebuilding an algorithm that everyone said was impossible. I press send. The email whooshes into the void. 5 seconds later, 3 red receipts appear. Michael Rodriguez, read 9:47 a.m. Patricia Rodriguez, read 9:47 a.m. Sophia Rodriguez, read 9:47 a.m. The silence that follows feels absolute. I go to my contacts. Michael Rodriguez, block. Patricia Rodriguez, block. Sophia Rodriguez, block. My phone feels lighter, like I just deleted 50 pounds of unnecessary weight. Outside my window, Lake Michigan catches the November sun. The water turns silver. A sailboat cuts across the horizon, moving towards something I can't see from here. I save their letter, the demand, the threat. Everything documented like always. But this time the documentation isn't defense, it's victory. They taught me to keep records, to be meticulous, to prove everything. They just never considered I'd use those lessons against them. Thursday, 1 week later, Tech Twitter has picked up the story. I watch it unfold from my office coffee growing cold on my desk. At Tech Ethics watch 47K followers. Harvard law student Sofia Rodriguez wrote 2,000-word op-ed about family-funded startups owing moral debt. Her sister funded everything with grants. Now the family wants 30% of an $8.5 million exit. You can't make this up. The thread goes viral. Someone dug up Sofia's deleted Instagram posts, screenshots of her drowned some vegetables text, Patricia's cropped family photo, Michael's relocation email that someone in his network leaked. At Women in STEM 156K followers. Emma Rodriguez built adaptive irrigation AI while her family literally tried to exile her to Austin. Now they want 30%. This is why women don't share their wins with family. At Startup Lawyer 89K followers. I reviewed the Rodriguez family's legal demand. The check memo says Fresh Start Fund. That's severance, not investment. Their lawyer should be embarrassed. Case dismissed. But the best response comes from an unexpected source. At Harvard Law Review verified 234K followers. The HLR blog does not represent the editorial board's views. Ms. S. Rodriguez's recent post does not meet our standards for factual accuracy or ethical reasoning. It has been removed. Sofia's op-ed deleted. Her Harvard credentials publicly distanced. My phone buzzes. Marcus Chen calling from upstairs. Have you seen Twitter? He asks. Hard to miss. Our PR team wants to release a statement. Nothing aggressive, just facts. Ms. Rodriguez funded her startup independently through competitive grants and her own resources. Any claims to the contrary are factually inaccurate. What do you think? I look out at the lake, at the city that's becoming home. Let's do it, I say. Facts only, no emotions. Facts only, Marcus agrees. That's what makes this beautiful. The truth is enough. That afternoon, I get an email I wasn't expecting. From Harrison Blackwood, subject, long overdue apology. Ms. Rodriguez, I saw the Forbes piece about your Agricor acquisition. I also remember the charity gala 18 months ago, where I made an inexcusable comment comparing you to the Help. I didn't realize you were Michael's daughter at the time, but that's no excuse. My words were demeaning regardless of who you were. I've since read your pitch deck. The one you emailed me that I ignored. Your approach to adaptive irrigation is exactly what my portfolio needs. More importantly, it's exactly the kind of innovation I should have recognized immediately. If you're open to it, I'd like to invest in whatever you build next. Not because you're Michael's daughter, but because you're exactly the kind of founder I should have backed the first time. I understand if you decline. Respectfully, Harrison Blackwood. I read it 3 times. This is the man whose insult crystallized my family's decision to exile me. The man whose laughter echoed through the Ritz-Carlton ballroom while Michael's face drained white with embarrassment. Now he's apologizing, offering investment, acknowledging the pitch deck he ignored. I think about it for 2 hours, draft 7 different responses. Finally, I write, Mr. Blackwood, thank you for your note. I appreciate the apology. I'm not seeking outside investment currently, but I respect people who can acknowledge mistakes and grow from them. That's rarer than you'd think. Best Emma. Short. Professional. Final. I don't need his validation anymore. Don't need his money. Don't need any connection to that world. Harrison Blackwood was a symbol of everything wrong with my old life. Choosing to leave him behind politely professionally, but definitively feels like closing a door I never want to reopen. I forward the exchange to Professor Kim. Thought you'd appreciate the irony. His response, the best revenge is refusing to let them back in. Proud of you, Emma. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing all week, but 3 numbers stay silent. Michael Rodriguez, last active 6 days ago. Patricia Rodriguez, last active 6 days ago. Sofia Rodriguez, last active 5 days ago. They're regrouping, recalculating, figuring out their next move. I don't care anymore. Let them scramble. Let them spin. Let them rewrite their narrative. I'm already building something they'll never understand. And this time I'm not building it alone. 6 months later, June, morning light pours through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my Chicago penthouse, turning Lake Michigan into hammered silver. I'm drinking coffee from a mug Professor Kim sent me last month. White ceramic with black text that reads, "Data doesn't lie," in a font that looks like code. My TerraSense Innovator Award sits on the bookshelf, half hidden behind a stack of industry journals. I didn't mount it on the wall. Didn't need to. The team photos from AgriCorps have replaced what used to be family portraits in my old apartment, 12 faces all of them. People who actually see me when they look at my work. People who chose to be here. People I chose back. My calendar pings. 3 meetings today, all of them important. A video call with the Delgado family farm. They want to expand TerraSense to their entire operation, not just the test fields. A lunch meeting with Professor Kim, who's bringing 2 of his current students interested in AgTech careers. And tonight, AgriCorps' annual summer gala at the Navy Pier Ballroom. I'm giving the keynote. Failure and Recovery: How Catastrophic Data Builds Better Systems. The irony isn't lost on me. My phone buzzes. Text from Maya Chen, the intern who stopped by my office 6 months ago, uncertain and scared. She's not an intern anymore. I hired her full-time last month as a junior systems architect. Maya, nervous about my presentation today. What if I mess up me? Then you'll have data about what doesn't work. That's more valuable than most people's successes. You've got this. Maya. Thank you for everything. I smile at my phone. This is what healing looks like. Not erasing the past, but building something better from its ruins. Another text arrives. Marcus Chen. Press wants a follow-up interview. 6 months since acquisition. How's the transition going, etc. Your call. I've turned down most interview requests. Let my work speak for itself. But 6 months feels like a milestone worth marking. Me. I'll do it, but only if they talk about the team, not just me. Marcus. That's why you're good at this job. I walk to my bookshelf, past the Innovator Award, past the framed Callaway grant certificate to the powder room where a different frame hangs. The $5,000 check, preserved under glass like the punchline it became. Guests always ask about it. I tell them it's a reminder that the best investments are the ones people make in themselves. What I don't tell them is that sometimes I stand here looking at Michael's handwriting Fresh Start Fund and feel something close to gratitude. Not for the money, for the clarity. They gave me permission to stop trying, stop performing, stop shrinking myself to fit into spaces that were never meant for me. That permission was worth more than $8.5 million. That evening, Navy Pier Ballroom, the AgriCorps Summer Gala glitters with corporate magic ambient lighting, tasteful greenery, the kind of elegant simplicity that costs a fortune to achieve. 200 people in cocktail attire, crystal glasses catching candlelight, the Chicago skyline, visible through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake. I'm mid-keynote, standing at a podium that feels both foreign and perfectly natural when I notice him in the back row. Harrison Blackwood. He's older than I remember. Grayer. He sits with the kind of careful attention that suggests he's actually listening, not just waiting for networking opportunities. I don't falter. Don't pause. I've learned that the past only has power if you give it permission to interrupt your present. The Delgado family farm lost 30% of their test crop because of my algorithm, I tell the audience. That failure cost them money they didn't have, trust they couldn't afford to lose, and it taught me the most important lesson of my career. I click to the next slide, before and after images of the Delgado fields. Failure data is the most valuable data you'll ever collect. Most founders try to hide it. I built my entire next system around it. TerraSense 2.0 doesn't just predict irrigation needs. It monitors its own predictions for the early warning signs of the errors that destroyed those fields 6 months ago. The audience is silent, engaged. We've now deployed across 500 farms in 12 states, not because the algorithm is perfect, because it knows when it might be wrong, and it corrects itself before catastrophe happens. That's resilience. That's what separates systems that survive from systems that thrive. Applause ripples through the ballroom. I see Maya in the third row beaming, Marcus near the front nodding approvingly, my team scattered throughout the audience proud. This is my chosen family, the people who bet on me when the outcome was uncertain. After the presentation, I'm surrounded by engineers and agronomists asking technical questions about sensor integration and machine learning models. A woman from a venture capital firm wants to discuss future funding rounds. A man from the USDA wants to explore partnership opportunities for drought-affected regions. I'm explaining adaptive algorithms to a group from Iowa State when Harrison Blackwood approaches. He waits patiently at the edge of the circle until there's a natural break in conversation. Ms. Rodriguez, he extends his hand. Harrison Blackwood, I heard your presentation at the AgTech Summit last spring. Tonight's was even better. He has no idea we've met before. The charity gala was 18 months ago, a lifetime in his world of endless networking and forgettable faces. I shake his hand. Thank you. Are you in agricultural technology? Investment portfolio includes several AgTech companies. Your approach to predictive failure modeling is exactly what the industry needs. He's done his homework. The questions he asks are smart specific, demonstrating actual understanding of the technical challenges. We talk for 15 minutes about soil sensors and edge computing and the economics of water management in climate-stressed regions. He sees the algorithm now, not the dust on my boots, not Michael Rodriguez's disappointing daughter, just the work, just the innovation. When he moves on to talk to other attendees, I feel nothing, no vindication, no triumph, just the quiet satisfaction of being seen for what I built, not who I'm related to. Later, back in my office on the 43rd floor, I update my calendar for the week ahead. Monday, monthly mentorship call with Professor Kim. Tuesday, scholarship committee meeting for my Unlikely Innovators Fund at Stanford, the program I created to support students whose families don't understand their work. $50,000 per year for 3 students. No family income requirements. Only requirement: you must be the only one who believes in you. We'll be the second. Wednesday, therapy at 2 o'clock. That last one still surprises some people. 6 months of success and I'm still in therapy every week. Yes, because systematic devaluation leaves marks even algorithms can't solve. Because success doesn't automatically heal childhood wounds. Because choosing yourself after a lifetime of being unchosen requires practice support and professional help. Dr. Williams says I'm doing the work. That's enough. A soft knock on my office door. Maya Chen holding her laptop, looking uncertain despite the successful presentation this morning. Ms. Rodriguez, do you have a minute? I wave her in, close my laptop to give her full attention. What's up? She sits in the chair across from my desk, twisting the strap of her laptop bag. My family doesn't really understand what I do here. My mom keeps asking when I'm going to get a real job, like a stable job, teaching or accounting or something. She looks up vulnerable. Did that ever happen to you? I see myself in her face. 23 years old. Brilliant. Uncertain. Carrying the weight of family disappointment like stones in her pockets. Yes, I say simply. It happened to me. How did you deal with it? I lean back in my chair, considering. Sometimes distance is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Not out of anger, out of preservation. I pause. You're doing real work here, Maya. Important work. Trust your data, not their doubts. Her shoulders drop half an inch, relief washing over her face. Thank you, she whispers. I just needed to hear someone say it. After she leaves, I sit in my office as the sun sets over Lake Michigan, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I recognize that walk she had, lighter, straighter, more certain. I used to have it too after conversations with Professor Kim, after moments when someone saw my potential before I could see it myself. Now I get to be that person for someone else. The cycle breaks here, with me, with Maya, with every student in my Unlikely Innovators Fund who needs someone to believe in them first. Christmas Eve. Snow falls over Chicago in thick, heavy flakes that actually stick. My penthouse windows frame the city like a postcard, white-covered streets, holiday lights, Lake Michigan, dark and infinite beyond. My phone shows 47 missed calls from numbers I unblocked months ago, but archived. Numbers I never quite deleted, though I'm not sure why. I scroll through the voicemail notifications without listening to them. The names tell me everything I need to know. Patricia Rodriguez, 7 missed calls. Michael Rodriguez, 5 missed calls. Sophia Rodriguez, 12 missed calls. The last voicemail arrived an hour ago. I play it on speaker while I chop vegetables for dinner. Patricia's voice actually crying. Real tears this time, not the performed kind. Emma, please. It's Christmas Eve. We miss our daughter. Your father made mistakes. We all made mistakes, but you're still our family. Please call us back. Please just talk to us. Give us a chance to apologize properly. I save the voicemail but don't respond. Delete would feel too final. Saving it feels like documentation, evidence that they tried in their own limited way. But trying isn't the same as changing. And missing me isn't the same as seeing me. My doorbell rings at 7 o'clock. Professor Kim arrives first, carrying 2 bottles of wine and a story about a student who reminds him of me 5 years ago. Brilliant and terrified, he says, just like you were. Marcus Chen brings sushi from my favorite place on Rush Street and an update about the board meeting. They asked about you today, he tells me. Wanted to know if you're happy, if we're treating you well. I told them you're exactly where you're supposed to be. James Park, my former data analyst, arrives with his wife and teenage son, the one who tested my mobile interface for $20 an hour and unlimited Mountain Dew. The son is a freshman at Northwestern, now studying computer science, telling everyone his first tech job was with Emma Rodriguez. Maya Chen brings homemade dumplings her mother made. She still doesn't understand what I do, Maya admits. But she's trying. She asked questions about my presentation yesterday. Rachel Foster Agricorp's general counsel brings her partner and a story about the Patterson and Hayes settlement. They withdrew their case, she tells me with obvious satisfaction. Didn't even wait for us to file a response. Your father's lawyers knew they had nothing. Others from Agricorp filter in throughout the evening. Engineers I hired. Analysts from my team. People carrying food and laughter and the easy comfort of chosen family. We eat scattered around my living room. Talk flows from work to books to the ridiculous Chicago weather to Maya's upcoming promotion. Nobody asks about my biological family. Nobody mentions the Forbes article or the legal threat or any of the drama that consumed my life 6 months ago. This is what normal feels like, what healthy looks like, what family actually means when you get to choose it. Later, washing dishes with Professor Kim while others debate the best Chicago pizza in my living room, I catch my reflection in the dark window. Lake Michigan stretches behind me, vast and indifferent and beautiful. Same face they tried to erase. Same person they measured and found wanting. Still here. Still building. Still growing. You did good, kid, Kim says softly, drying a wine glass. Not just with TerraSense. With all of this. He gestures at the apartment, the people, the life I built. You chose yourself. That's the hardest thing anyone can do. You taught me that, I tell him. You and Marcus and everyone here, you showed me what it looks like when people actually see you. We just recognized what was already there. He sets the glass down carefully. You did the work, Emma. Don't forget that. 10:00 p.m. The doorbell rings again. I check the peephole from the kitchen. Sophia stands in the hallway, no coat, despite the snow, shivering in a Harvard sweatshirt and jeans. Her hair is wet. She's been standing out there a while. My hand freezes on the doorknob. Professor Kim appears beside me, sees her through the peephole. You don't have to answer that, he says quietly. You don't owe her anything. I know, but I also know that Sophia is 22 years old, 3 years younger than me, raised in the same system that taught us love was conditional and approval was earned through achievement. She was their golden child. I was their disappointment. But we were both performing for the same impossible audience. Sophia knocks softly. Emma, please. I know you're home. I just want to talk. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. My chosen family has gone quiet in the living room, watching, waiting, ready to support whatever I decide. I could open the door, let her in, listen to her apology, maybe start rebuilding something, or I could step back. Choose the family I built over the family I was born into. Protect the peace I worked so hard to create. Marcus appears on my other side. Whatever you choose, he says simply, we're here. I look at Sophia through the peephole. She's crying now, real tears streaming down her face, her whole body shaking with cold, and something that might be genuine remorse. I think about being 8 years old, handing her my trophy. About every science fair that became background noise to her achievements. About drowned some vegetables and the Instagram post cropping me out of existence. I think about the Harvard Law Review op-ed she wrote trying to claim my success as family property. About the legal demand for 30% of everything I built alone. But I also think about systematic devaluation. About how she learned to step on me because they taught her that's how you climb. About how we were both casualties of the same broken system, just playing different roles. I could open this door. I could start the hard, messy work of rebuilding a relationship that was never healthy to begin with. Or I could choose myself. Again, the way I've been choosing myself every day for 6 months. My hand moves to the doorknob. Sophia sees the shadow shift under the door. Her crying stops hopeful. I step back, away from the door, away from the possibility, away from the past that will always want more than I can safely give. I return to my living room where my chosen family waits, where Professor Kim raises his glass and says, "To the family we choose." I raise mine. To the family that chose me back. Outside, Sophia waits 5 more minutes. I hear her knock once more softly, then her footsteps retreating down the hallway. The elevator ding. Silence. Inside life continues. Maya tells a story about her mother's confusion over artificial intelligence. James's son demonstrates a new app he's building. Rachel and her partner debate the merits of deep dish versus thin crust with religious fervor. I don't watch Sophia leave. Don't second-guess my choice. Don't wonder what might have been if I'd opened that door. Because I already know. Some doors stay closed for a reason. Some distances are necessary for survival. Some families you're born into and some families you build. I chose to build. 1 year later, December, the TerraSense 2.0 launch event fills AgriCore's San Francisco headquarters. Glass and steel and California sunshine, so different from Chicago's winter gray. 500 farms across 12 states. 40% efficiency improvements. 7 million gallons of water saved. I stand at the podium with my team behind me. Maya's there, no longer uncertain, presenting the machine learning improvements she designed. James's data architecture. Marcus's strategic vision. This isn't my victory. It's ours. The video testimonial from Carlos Delgado plays on the screen behind us. His weathered face, his calloused hands, his genuine smile. "Emma didn't just fix our irrigation system," he says to the camera. "She saved our legacy, my grandfather's farm, my father's farm. Now it'll be my daughter's farm. Because Emma Rodriguez proved that failure isn't the end of the story. It's just data for the next chapter." I blink back tears. Not sad tears, grateful tears. Forbes publishes a follow-up profile that afternoon. Emma Rodriguez, 24, leads AgriCore's $50 million Sustainable Innovation Division. The photo shows me with my team 12 people I hired, all from non-traditional backgrounds. All people who were told they didn't fit. All people who proved that wrong. The quote they choose, "The best founders aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who document failure so precisely they never repeat it." That evening, back in my Chicago penthouse, I stand at the powder room looking at the framed check one last time. $5,000. Fresh Start Fund. Michael's handwriting. Patricia's approval. Sophia's documentation. The price they thought would buy my exile. Instead, it bought my freedom. My phone doesn't buzz with missed calls anymore. No voicemails from Patricia. No texts from Michael. No Instagram mentions from Sophia. Just silence. Expensive silence. Deserved silence. Mine. I think about Professor Kim's words from last Christmas. "You chose yourself. That's the hardest thing anyone can do." He was right, but what he didn't say, what I'm only now learning, is that choosing yourself isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. A muscle you strengthen every time you protect your peace, honor your boundaries, trust your data over their doubts. I look out at Lake Michigan, dark and infinite under winter stars. A city that welcomed me when my family wouldn't. A life I built from their rejection. Some families grow you. Some families grow you away. Both are gifts, you just have to know which one you got. I got the second kind. And I'm grateful. Not for the pain. Not for the years of feeling inadequate. Not for the systematic devaluation that required therapy to unravel. But for the clarity. For the permission to stop performing. For the space to discover who I actually am when I'm not trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for me. Thank you for the seed money, I think, looking at that check one last time. You taught me I could grow anywhere, even in exile. Especially in exile. The silence I've earned settles around me like expensive cashmere, warm-deserved mine. My phone buzzes. Not family, never family anymore. Maya Chen. Team dinner tomorrow. My treat, celebrating my 6-month anniversary. Me. I'll be there. Proud of you, Maya. Learned from the best. I smile at my reflection in the dark window. Same face, different life, better life. The daughter they never saw became the woman they'll never know, and that's exactly how it should be. The end.